everybody. How's it going? I'm just going to shuffle this deck of my favorite angel cards while I'm waiting for you guys to hop on. I'm really excited about today's live. I was going to talk about this anyway, and then one of the beautiful ladies in the group reached out to me. Hey, Jess. So I thought I would cover it now, and it actually blends really nicely with something that's coming up. So I wanted to cover it the best I can. So I am going to refer to my notes. This is a topic that can go fairly in depth. So I'm also going to warn you, this could be a longer live. So if you have to leave or catch the replay or whatever, that's fine. But definitely don't miss it because it's going to be filled with all kinds of good info. So if you guys are catching me live, go ahead and say hi. Tell me where you're watching from. If you're catching the replay, you can drop a hashtag replay or a number 2 below. Let's see. I'm really excited about this, you guys, honestly. And I'm sorry I didn't get to it yesterday. I really appreciate you guys being so, hey, I really appreciate you guys being so understanding and flexible with me. I fully intended to go live yesterday and then it just did not happen. Hey, Karen. And then my son, Colorado. I want to visit Colorado, badly. My son was not cooperating. He did not nap. And then I thought I had it under control and I was going to get him into bed early. And then we got a phone call from a friend and then he decided to take full reign. My son, not my friend. And then, so it just didn't happen. And then I went to put him to bed and I fell asleep, quite honestly, when I was putting my son to bed. And then I woke up at 10 to 11. And I was kind of disoriented and I was like, well, I'm not going to go live now. There's going to be nobody watching and it's not going to be the best quality. So I wanted to wait until I was hyped and ready and in the right mindset to do it because I want to make sure that you got, sorry, I dropped my card that I want to pull. I want to make sure that I give the best possible information and I want to make sure it's delivered as best as possible. So I need to be in the right mindset for that. So I wanted to make sure until I was in the right mindset to do it. So again, thank you guys so much for being so patient and understanding with me. And I'm super stoked to do this live today. Okay, so this is the card that literally jumped out of the deck. Sever vows of poverty. Dear one, there's no need to suffer or sacrifice. Hold the intention of undoing any vows of poverty or self-denial that you may have made, consciously or unconsciously, in any lifetime. As you do so, all effects of these vows will be undone for everyone involved in all directions of time. So that kind of actually, I guess you don't really need to be able to read it. What am I doing here? There you go. I'm not good at that. That ties in kind of nicely what we're talking about because, it's a very real issue, right? You know that you're supposed to ignore your current reality and, kind of let the pieces fall. Hey, Rachel, let the pieces fall where they may and really just focus on your intention of manifesting more money. But then there's this real world problem of needing to pay attention to your finances to be able to cover your bills, right? You've got expenses that come up. You've got, Christmas coming. You've got birthdays coming. You've got, your water bill is coming. Your property tax once a year. You've got, your dog needs vaccinations or worse, a vet, visit. All these things come up and it gets really hard to realistically to ignore your financial situation when you have all these real life things come up, but you can't just totally ignore your financial situation because then obviously chaos will ensue, right? Because you've got bills that are going to go unpaid and okay, so I want you guys to know, I'm going to be very, very transparent, very open right now and let you know that all of these things I'm speaking about are from experience, okay? I've tried the ignoring my financial situation. I've tried putting things on autopay so I don't have to think about it. I've tried everything. And I have even been to the position where bills have gone late because I wasn't paying attention because I was trying to ignore my financial situation. And I was trying to not look at my bank account. Hey, Angela. So I know what it's like to not have the money to cover the bills. I know what it's like to need to manifest the money so badly because you just don't know where else it's going to come from, that it's all you can think about is how you don't have the money to pay your bills. Right? I know what all of that is like. So I know this topic is very near and dear to my heart, which is why I was so excited to cover it. So like I said, I am going to refer to my notes because I want to make sure that I cover everything in detail. I don't want to leave anything out. So I am going to be looking away at my notes. But so if you guys deal with if this issue is something that you struggle with, drop some dollar signs or some money emojis below. I want to see how many of you are in a similar situation to where I was, and to who, asked the question. If you're struggling with money, but you can't ignore your situation because you need to pay your bills, but you need to ignore your situation because you want to manifest the money. Like, if that's you, let me know in the comments. I want to see how many people that this resonates with. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, and the first thing that I think is really important here, is to reframe the way you feel about your debt to begin with, okay? Because right when you say the word debt, it automatically has this negative connotation, right? Like, people think about debt as this like evil, nasty, terrible, gross, irresponsible thing, right? So then there's a lot of shame around it too. So that really doesn't help the feeling of abundance and prosperity when we feel crappy about the money that we've racked up, right? So we need to change the mindset around debt to begin with. So first of all, I had this woman, Amanda Moxley. She is essentially she's a coach to coaches. And she says to reframe debt as, instead of debt being, the terrible, nasty, disgusting word that we don't like, she says reframe it and look at it as, what is she? Oh, now I forget. I'm drawing a blank now that I went on to explain it. Divine energy blessing the dream. Okay, so, and that applies specifically, well, I don't know if it applies specifically, but in my case, it applies specifically to investing in myself and my business and my future and my, spiritual journey and all that stuff, because and I know you guys, I've told you before that I am working with a spiritual coach program right now, and that money I had to borrow, right? So that is literally divine energy blessing the dream. Like, that's one of those investments that the universe is responding. What is the word I'm looking for? That is one of those investments that the universe is like congratulating me for spending that money and spending and understanding that I was worth that, and that my value is greatly exceeded by the amount spent on the coach. So when you're looking at it from that perspective, that feels pretty good, right? So, but anyway, debt in general though, like, it's not this nasty thing. Like, all it is, if you look at it, all it is your decision to finance something over a period of time. It's your decision to pay something off over time. It has nothing to do with anything else except your decision to take advantage of this leveraged money and finance things over time. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay. So first of all, get that through your head that choosing to finance things, choosing to allow yourself to pay for things over time is not a bad decision. It doesn't make you irresponsible. It doesn't make you bad with money. It doesn't make you terrible with budgeting. None of that. Okay. And how about this? Why don't we start expressing gratitude to the lenders, whether that's, banks or credit cards or, your parents or a friend or whatever. Like, let's be grateful that we even have the money to be able to leverage. Hey, Teresa, because a lot of people are in the position where they can't even take out credit, right? So if they can't afford it right off the bat and they don't have any credit, well, they're not going to buy it, right? And sometimes that's sad. That means if they have a pet that needs medical attention and they don't have the money for it, well, then a lot of the time the solution is to put it down, and that's awful, right? If you at least have been blessed with the opportunity to, or the opportunity to be able to finance something over time, you can put your vet bill on a credit card and pay it later, right? Pay it off over time instead of having to pay for it all in one go. So we need to start being grateful for the ways that the money's been presented to us, right? Like, be thankful that you even have that option, because a lot of people don't have the option, right? So another way that we can reframe debt is to think of it as, like I say, leveraged funds to allow you to choose to pay for something off over time, right? And I think you definitely want to stop using the word debt and start using the terms leveraged money, or I like leveraged finances. That's the term that I like to use, just because it makes me feel like I'm investing, right? And you want to when you were talking about borrowing money, you want to also thank the universe on a consistent basis for allowing these lenders to trust you and for the universe to trust you. Because think about this, like, you would not have been given the option to take this money out. Like, let's say it's a loan, for example, or a credit card. It doesn't really matter, actually. It doesn't matter. Any amount of money. The person or the institution who lent you this money, leverage experiences, I like it, Jess, good. The person or institution that loaned you this money had faith in you and in the fact that you would be able to repay this money at some point. And further to that, the universe wanted you to experience the things that you were going to use that leveraged money for, knowing full well that you did not have the money or the money mindset right that second to be able to otherwise manifest this thing into your life, or this experience, or whatever it is that you're, choosing to pay off over time. But the universe loves you so much that, and has so much faith in you and understands, obviously the universe knows how it works, right? And had full knowing that you would at some point be in the position where your money mindset and your financial flow and everything would be aligned so greatly that you would be able to repay all the money you borrowed. Hey, Adriana, all the money you borrowed, and be in the position where you would no longer need to borrow money at all. Right? So a lot of this, like I say so far, is just about shifting your mindset about how you feel about the debt itself. But by shifting your mindset around the debt and feeling better about the debt, the whole situation is made a little bit easier. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to say about reframing your mindset around debt is, instead of, I kind of mentioned this in a previous video, but instead of focusing your attention on how much you owe and how long it's going to take to pay off and et cetera, you want to focus on the feeling that you're striving for when you have that money paid off, like when you have the financial freedom you're working towards. You want to definitely focus your attention. This is in all respects, not just in this particular case, but specifically right now we're talking about money and debt and all that. You want to never focus on what you're trying to get away from or what you're trying to leave behind. You want to always focus your attention on where you're going, where you're aiming, what your intentions are. Not necessarily the motivation behind it, but you want to focus on the goal and the end result, right? Because if your energy is, even if it's good intentioned, if you're focusing on the money you owe and how long it's going to take to pay off, and even if you're like, okay, well, it'll be paid off by, August 2020 or whatever, you're still focusing on the fact that you owe money. You're still focusing on the lack and scarcity, because when you have, this does not apply to everybody, so don't take offense if this does not apply to you, but generally, I find, at least the people that I come into contact with who have debt like this, who are in this situation that we're talking about today, they are pretty much living in their debt, or they're living paycheck to paycheck, and they have this debt to pay off. And so they're living in a place of they don't have enough. So when you focus on your debt, even if it's how much left you have to pay off in a positive, like if you have it with positive intention, it's still focusing on the lack of money and not on the going towards having financial freedom. Does that make sense? Can you guys drop some emojis below if that makes sense? I just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page before I move on. But yeah, like I mentioned in a previous video, you definitely want to focus on where you're going and the feeling of that financial freedom and the feeling of that relief you will have when you don't owe anybody any money. Like when the money coming in can be allocated to things that you want to buy and save and whatever, instead of what I was going to say was, instead of focusing on places you don't want to put it, like debt. Like, so I know, but you see what I mean? Like, that's a scarcity mindset thing, right? Like you want to focus on the feeling you're going to have when it's paid off, and the idea that you just chose to finance things over time. That was not, even if it was something in the meantime that you needed to do, like if you just did not have the money for that vet bill or something, you can still tell yourself and tell your subconscious mind, because eventually thoughts become beliefs, And beliefs is what our subconscious runs off of. And 95% of our life is lived in the subconscious. So as long as you can get it in there that you chose to pay that off over time rather than, I mean, realistically, if you had a vet bill, like we had a Rottweiler that got really, really sick and we ended up racking up $8,000 in credit card debt because we just didn't have the money to pay it. No, realistically, we definitely could have sold several things to make up that money, but we chose to put it on the credit card instead. So it's things like that. Like there are probably definitely things in your house that you could sell to come up with $8,000 or $5,000 or $2,000 or a couple $100 or whatever it is, right? But you're choosing to put it on your credit card. So you need to continuously reinforce in your mind that it was a choice to put it on a credit card or put it on a loan or take out a line of credit or whatever it is, right? And like I kind of touched on earlier, having debt does not make you a bad person, and it doesn't label you as bad with money in any way. It's simply a form of leveraged energy in exchange for other things made of energy. That's really all it comes down to, right? So I hope that helps you kind of reframe the way you feel about debt in general, because it really, if you feel icky about the money you owe, this whole scenario will never feel good to you, and it will be that much harder for you to pay it off. Okay, so you want to really focus on trying to change the way you feel about the money that you've already incurred. And you know what? It's over anyway. It's done. That was a decision you made. Maybe you didn't know any better. Maybe you did. Whatever. You know what? Like I said too in a previous video, and I say all the time, every day is a new opportunity to start again, right? So just forgive yourself. You can practice, I can't pronounce it, it's Ho'oponopono or something. And it's a forgiveness ritual that you can use with absolutely anything. But I would start with doing it with yourself and your finances. You say, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, I love you. And you say it over and over again, and you can direct that energy to your finances, to your debt, to yourself, to your spouse, whatever the case may be, and just get into alignment with the fact that you chose to pay this stuff off over time, and it doesn't make you a terrible person because you have some debt. Like no matter how much debt you owe, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're bad with money. Those are past decisions that you made, and that's what it is. And we'll just move on and start again tomorrow. Now you know better now, depending on what the situation is. I mean, I know I've made some really stupid financial decisions in my 30 short years on this planet. So I mean, I'm probably not the only one. But I know that those decisions that I made were past. I was just doing the best I could with what I had at the time, right? And I know better now, so I won't do it again. I mean, it's very simple, right? You just work with what you have until you know better. So the next thing I want to touch on, now that we've got our mindset kind of changed around how we feel about our debt, is to talk about the flow of money in general. Okay. So because part of the issue here is, right, we're trying to feel good about the money that comes in and goes out, and trying to get to a nice happy medium between ignoring our current financial situation and to manifest the money we need, want, and desire, all while being responsible and paying our bills and kind of keeping an eye on things, right? Like that's kind of what this is all about, is this like teeter-totter situation of craziness that doesn't seem to make any sense, right? So we need to understand and be grateful for the flow of money itself. You want to be grateful for every single cent coming in, no matter where it comes from. If you find a penny on the ground, if you find a dime on the ground, you want to be so grateful for that money and thank the universe for it like you just found $1,000, okay? Because like I said a minute ago, your subconscious, I don't know if I did say that a minute ago, but your subconscious mind does not know the difference between something imagined and something real, okay? Your subconscious believes what you tell it. Thoughts become beliefs, and beliefs become how we operate on a subconscious level. Like I said, I did say that a minute ago. So if you can be grateful for every cent coming in and understand that every cent coming in does add to your prosperity, it does add to your abundance, it does add to your wealth. Sometimes when we're new to this kind of work too, those little things are actually a test from the universe to see how much you actually appreciate it. Because if you see a dime on the ground or a penny on the ground and you walk past it like you're not good enough or you're too good to pick it up and you don't want to bother, it's only a penny, well, the universe is not going to give you more money if you're not appreciative of the money it is giving you, right? You have to be grateful for the money that is presenting itself to you. In the same way, I know this was asked by somebody in my spiritual course at the very, very beginning. She said something like she was trying to manifest some chunk of money. Let's just say it was $1,000. I forget what it was. And I guess she said that she wanted it to come, or figured it would come in like one chunk, like one lump sum. But it came, and it wasn't at the very beginning. It was like the first check came, and it wasn't even a quarter of the money. And she was like admitting that she felt kind of annoyed at first, or like disappointed, I guess, that the money didn't come the way she wanted it to. And then our coach, the teacher of the program, said, like, look, it's a test. You have to be grateful for every single penny that comes in, or you're not going to be given any more. It's all to make sure that you are actually doing what you said you were going to do, and you're in alignment with what you said you wanted, and that you are being grateful for these things as they come about, because the universe is not going to give you more if you're not even grateful for what you have. And I'm going to go off on a tangent for a second, because I just picked up, I started reading again Gabrielle Bernstein's book, The Universe Has Your Back, and she explains it perfectly. She's like, imagine you spent all day, all week, all month looking for this gift for your friend. Okay. You find the perfect gift. You're so excited. You see this thing. You imagine how your friend is going to react when you give him this gift. You know, you take it home, you find the most beautiful paper, the most beautiful ribbon, you wrap it all up nice, you make sure the bow looks great, you fill out the card, you know, put a nice little sentimental note in there. You're all pumped about this gift, and then you give it to this person, and then, you know, she opens it and then like just puts it to the side and picks up the next gift. Like it means nothing to her. Like she doesn't understand that it was a heartfelt gift. She puts no consideration into giving you a thank you, no, you know, facial expression of like, oh, isn't that so sweet? Like imagine that. That's literally what you're doing when you walk by pennies and dimes and dollar bills and whatever, and not pick them up and not be appreciative of all the money coming back to you in any way that it comes. Right? Like you're not going to want to give that friend a gift anymore, just as the universe is not going to want to give you more money if you can't even be grateful for the money that it is giving you. Does that make sense? Hope so. Okay. So like I say, you want to thank the universe for every coin you find as if you just came across $100 or $1,000. Like it's no different. You want to just be very, very grateful. Send love and gratitude out with every cent leaving your hand too. So you want to, this is something that I found made a huge difference in my life is, first of all, you want to look at every single purchase you make as an investment into your life somehow. And therefore, it's also kind of a nice thing when you're trying to shift your mindset out of the debt and into the financial abundance and all that, and you're struggling with not having enough money, because I know a lot of us don't even have enough money. Like we cover the bills and there's nothing extra, right? So one thing you can do is look at every single penny you spend as an investment. And if you don't feel like you can call what you're spending money on an investment, then maybe you shouldn't be spending money on it. And that's totally up to you. And I'm going to leave that in your hands. But like, even when you're buying groceries, that's an investment in the nourishment and the fulfillment and the, you know, full bellies of your family. When you are paying for your Netflix subscription, you are investing in the quality, you know, family movie time that you're going to spend watching shows. Or like for me, investing in my sanity because I've got a 3-year-old and it's just not worth it. Okay. Like, let's just be honest. Excuse me. So you want to make sure that you can say with confidence that every penny you're spending is somehow an investment to your life. And it doesn't matter in what regard it's an investment, but you want to make sure that you feel good about the money you're spending, right? Now, with that though, when you spend the money, you want to also not only think about yourself and what that investment is like for your family, but think about all the people you're blessing with your dollars, okay? When you go to the grocery store, think about that. When you're paying for your groceries, think about the cashier you're dealing with. Think about the this security guard that works at the store, if there's one. Think about everybody at the deli counter where you got your, potato salad or whatever. Think about everybody in the bakery who's baking the bread fresh, right? When you spend money at a grocery store, you are keeping everybody in that grocery store employed for another day, right? Like your dollars and cents get split amongst everybody working there, and you're helping keep them employed. When you're paying your cell phone bill, envision everybody at the cell phone company who, answers phones and repairs the phones and puts the marketing, like you're keeping all of those people employed too. If you can send your money out with love and blessings and gratitude for those people, because like, I don't want to work at a cell phone call center. I don't want to work. I worked in a grocery store. I did that. I don't want to do that anymore, right? Like I would rather my money pay for somebody else to be employed to pack my groceries for me. I don't want to do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like you have to think about it in those terms. Think about all the things that people do for you that you are investing in when you spend your money that you don't want to do. Right? Like eventually I'd like to have a house cleaner because I don't like cleaning my house. I mean, I do clean my house and I'm grateful I have a house to clean, but I would much rather employ somebody to clean my house and help them feed their family. You know what I mean? So you want to look at every cent you spend as an investment in yourself and your family or whatever, and think about all the people you're blessing with the money that you're spending. Even when you go to Starbucks, right? Like all the baristas and the people, the managers and everybody, the person who owns that location, that franchise. And then you're also supporting the person who owns the building that the franchise is leased from, right? So you're helping that guy feed his family. I mean, he's probably loaded, but you know what I'm saying? Like you're helping it flow, right? And the other thing, I actually heard Grant Cardone say this, and it made a lot of sense to me. The money that you have is not yours. It's somebody else's, and you're just holding on to it until you give it to somebody else. Right? Like the flow of money needs to be, and I've said this before, I don't know how many times in various lives, but the flow of money needs to continue. Okay? You cannot hold and hoard money because you're stopping the flow of money, which means you're stopping the flow of money to you also. And you're also stopping it from going out. Remember the other day when I said, even if you have $3 in your account, give one to somebody else who needs it more than you do, the universe will congratulate you and give you all kinds of praise for doing that, because it recognizes that you did something good, and the universe knows you need money. This is not a secret. You can stop asking. The universe knows you need money, right? But when you give away what you need most, you will be rewarded in the same way, not from the same person, but in the same way. And I've read some people say 7-fold, some people say 10-fold, whatever. The point is, and it's not bad to know that the money's coming back to you. The point is to know that you did good with your money and you helped somebody who needed it more than you do. Okay. And then also when you're spending money, you want to, like I say, send it out with love and gratitude and thank, you in that moment, if you can, and this is really hard to do. So you want to probably put stickies on the back of your cards or in your wallet or something. So it's a constant reminder, because it is a habit that is going to be hard to start because you've been living your whole life up until today, doing it the old way. You want to remind yourself as you're paying, as you're putting your PIN number in, as you're handing the cash, there's more where that came from. There's always more where that came from. The universe will find a way to provide for you. And you know what? Worst case scenario, like I kind of touched on a little bit earlier, look around you at all the stuff in your house. Like all of that used to be money. All of the things in your house used to be money, right? Like look how much money you're surrounded by. And I would bet that at least 50% of the things that you're looking at right now in your house, you could sell to make money back. Maybe not the full amount or anything like that, but I'm just saying you can turn the things that were once money in your house back into money if you really needed to, right? Like people have abandoned everything and gone and lived in their car. So you can definitely live without some furniture if you really needed to, right? And like I say, you want to show gratitude for every cent coming in. I just want to touch on that again, because that's super, 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 super important. You want to make sure that you are grateful for every source of income, whether it's the government giving you, child benefits or whatever, whether it's maybe you're on disability. You want to thank the government for that money. You want to thank your savings account for giving you interest, if it bears interest. Most of them don't, but anyway, it's fine. If you're investing, you want to thank your investments for bearing interest and income. You want to be grateful for every single one of your customers. I know a lot of you in here have side businesses or main businesses that are in network marketing. Pretty much everybody who makes money is involved with customers in some way. So you want to be grateful to those people. You can even write gratitude, letters to them. You don't have to send them out if you don't want to, but you can write them down, write their names down, thank them for their benefit to your life, right? Financially. And a lot of your customers, I'm sure, have become your friends too, right? So you want to be grateful for that friendship as well. Because if it wasn't for your business, and if it wasn't for their desire to have whatever you're selling and you're in the exchange of energy, you would never become friends with this person, right? And your job, you want to be grateful for your job. We talked about this the other day about how if you're stuck in a job you don't love, You want to be grateful for that job anyway, grateful for your boss, grateful for your employees if you have people under you. And if you own a business and you have employees, be grateful for them too, because they're helping you bring in money and helping you finance your life, right? So it's just about being grateful. Really, gratitude solves the whole thing. Okay, so am I making sense so far? Can you guys drop some emojis below if I'm making sense? If I'm going too fast, let me know. I can slow down. I can cover something again if you need me to. This is going to be a little bit of a long one. I still have several points I need to make. So if anybody needs to go and get a glass of water or coffee or something, that's fine. Okay, nobody's saying anything, or I'm not seeing the comments at least. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that everything's a-okay, and I'm going to keep going. So now I want to combine the dealing with debt while you're trying to manifest money, okay? Because that is really the heart of. There's a couple more points I want to make, but this is really the essence of the conversation. Okay, Jess says I'm good. Okay, good. So this next section is talking specifically about how you deal with the fact that you owe money. It might be buckets of money. It might be a couple $100, like whatever it is, you owe money you don't have. You're trying to ignore the fact that you owe money because that puts you in a place of scarcity and lack. You're trying to manifest money, but that's not helping you so far. It's not working so far because you're not really able to fully ignore your financial situation because you don't have the money, right, to pay the bills. Like, I know it's a cyclical thing, right? And that's really one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do too, is manifest money when I don't have any money, and trying to ignore the situation, trying to ignore the fact that I don't have any money, but still trying to enjoy my life and, pretend that I'm abundant and pretend that I'm prosperous and like do all these things. So I get it. So we're going to get into it. So one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is to do everything you can to stay as high vibe as possible, to stay as happy as possible. And you can do that. I mean, of course it's easier. For me, at least, it's easier this time of year when it's beautiful outside and you can do things that don't cost a lot of money because you can be outside in nature, going for hikes and going for walks in the park and, taking my kid to the water park down the street and things like that. I do agree that in the fall and the winter, it is more difficult for me, at least, because I find that you want to be inside more, right? Which means you have to, normally that requires paying for something. Like it's very hard to just window shop at the mall, right? Especially when you have a kid and all the clothes are so cute. If you want to go to an inside playground, well, that costs money, right? You want to go out to eat, that costs money. You want to go see a movie, that costs money. So I do agree that this time of year is a better time to focus, in my opinion, is a better time to focus your energy on manifesting money and ignoring your financial situation and not at least making it worse with trying to do things that make you feel good, because you can spend more time outside in the sun, go to the beach, like things that don't cost any money, maybe a little bit of parking and a couple of hot dogs at the beach or something, right? So try to do everything you can to keep your vibe as high as possible and stay as happy as possible, because I know, Jess, I know you love to hike and I love seeing your hiking pictures. We would do it more if our 3-year-old would walk more, but he ends up spending a good part of the hike on my husband's shoulders. And although my husband is super, super strong, my son is also bordering 40 pounds. So that's pretty tiring. But hiking is like, I love hiking. I love, and like you say, seeing the abundance of nature is like, if you look around when you're outside, you cannot count the blades of grass. You cannot count the trees. You cannot count the flowers. You cannot count the, grains of sand. You cannot count all the pieces of dirt. You cannot count all the bugs, all the birds, all the, this, that, and the next thing. So the abundance of nature, and this is the beautiful thing, is you and your abundance are no different than what you see and feel and hear in nature. You are just as abundant as nature is. It's just, we've been programmed subconsciously to not believe that, right? And that's one of the things we're dealing with here. And it's actually something that we go really deep into. Some of you may have noticed that I've posted a little bit of information about a upcoming 5-day money mindset mini course. And we go really deep into the subconscious and reprogram some stuff there, because that's really where it comes down to. We are living from our subconscious 95% of our day, which means you are only consciously aware of 5% of what's going on, what you're thinking, what you're doing, where your beliefs come from, and all that. So you really need to get to a subconscious level, but we need to deal with it on a conscious level too. So I'm going to get back into this. So one of the things that you want to, like I said, you want to stay as high vibe as possible, because you need to understand that high vibration attracts and manifests faster than low vibration, right? I mean, honestly, that just, it does make sense, and it's like painfully obvious, but the higher vibe you can stay, the more quickly you will manifest your desires, and you'll just be in a better mood in general. And so that will snowball into all areas of your life also, right? Like it's a whole, and this is the other thing, is money is no different than anything else. It's just we put so much stress on the situation because we need it to live our life, right? Like this is the whole essence of this whole conversation, right? Because you need money to live your life, and we try to not put as much weight on it as we do, but it's hard not to, because you need money to live your life, and et cetera. And that's a cyclical thing as well, right? So one of the best pieces of advice I can give you too for dealing with the debt while you're trying to manifest more money is you need to stare your financial situation in the face. I know that kind of sounds counterproductive, and I know a lot of us don't want to do that because we don't want to see how bad it is. We don't want to admit where we're at fault. We don't want to see where we've screwed up. But if you completely ignore it, you can't move past it. And like anything else, if you can just look it in the face and feel the emotions and feel the feelings that you have, and just let it be what it is and just accept it, it's not going to be as painful as it sounds, I swear. Like it's the same as anything else. Like if you're thinking about starting a business, for example, the thought of starting it and how scary it's going to be is way worse than if you just step in and do it. Like that's literally what I started doing with this coaching business. And the anticipation I was building up in my mind was way worse than actually just stepping in and doing it scared. It's just not that scary. So you need to stare your financial situation in the face and deal with it head on. You need to figure out what you're spending on a monthly average basis. I would go back and spend a good evening or two, maybe more, depending on how much you use your debit card and your credit card, go through all your financials for the last 3 months and average it all out. How much are you spending on groceries? How much are you spending on gas? How much are you spending on car payments? How much are you spending on, X, Y, and Z? And while you're doing that, you can see if there's any leaks in there. So I know a lot of us put things on auto payment, like everything is auto payment now, right? They want to just take money out of your account automatically, car insurance and like iTunes and, Spotify and YouTube and Netflix and all that. Like we allow these things to just seep out of our account every single month. So one of the things that you can do to make you feel better about your situation is to go through your accounts, get a handle on it, grab it by the balls, and figure out where you've got those leaks that you can plug up, right? Like if you have a Spotify subscription and you listen to it like once a month, well, like that can probably go. You know what I mean? If you have a Netflix subscription, but you never watch Netflix, that can go. Replace it with a Gaia subscription. That is worthwhile to have. But, maybe you've signed up for some, I don't know, monthly, I don't know, even a gym membership, for example. If you have a gym membership, if you're not going to the gym, do what you can to get out of that membership, because it is a leak that you need to plug up. Because when you are letting money leave your account month after month after month, and you see, a lot of the times you'll notice it going, you're like, I meant to cancel that. And then you don't cancel it. You're literally saying to the universe, like, okay, well, I don't care about that $14 a month. I don't care about that. And that adds up, right? Like $14 here and $15 there and $20 there. Like that's almost $60 already. Or that's $70. I can't do math. I don't know what I just said. Blonde moment. Anyway, so you want to plug up the leaks, right? And you want to make sure that you are confident that you know where all your money is going, because that will be the start to helping you feel good about your situation and be able to feel more abundant, is just having the control and knowing what's going on in your finances. Okay, does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I'm gonna take some more water. So one of the purposes of plugging up these leaks is to go back to and get back to the basics of looking at everything you spend money on as an investment, right? You want to set intentions for the flow of your money. You want to feel good about the money you're sending out. And I'm not saying that Netflix is not a worthy, place to send your money. Like I give my $14 every month and I'm quite happy to do that. But I also send it out with love and gratitude. And, I thank the people who work at Netflix and who get all these great movies, especially Paw Patrol, because that's, the go-to right now. I need to have Paw Patrol available at all times, 24/7. And that's a worthwhile expense to me. That's an investment in my sanity, like I said. So like that's something that I want to spend money on, but you want to make sure that the money going out is going out with intention and it's flowing in a way that you can say that you feel good about it, right? So go through your finances and plug up any leaks, figure out what you're spending money on. Don't feel guilty about it. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to get an idea of where you're at so you know where you're going. Like it's with anything you're trying to manifest. If you don't know where you are right now, you're never going to be able to get to where you want to go. Right? With anything. If you don't know where you are, you don't know where you stand, you're not going to be able to get to where you want to go because you're not going to be able to link the steps that need to happen between now and then. Okay? And now when you're looking through your finances, when you're doing your budgeting, or not budgeting, but taking tally of where you're spending your money, when you're looking at all this stuff and you're staring it in the face and maybe your debt's a little more than you thought it was or whatever, just allow yourself to just sit with the emotions, feel what you have to feel about your money situation. Like don't brush over it. Don't try to ignore it. I tried that for way too long, just trying to ignore it. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like, no, just sit and just own it. Accept it for what it is, right? Like I said, the past is in the past. Maybe we made some mistakes. Maybe we didn't handle our finances as well as we could. We know better now. So going forward, we're going to, right? Don't beat yourself up about it. Feel the emotions you need to feel and then move on and do that hope, oh no, whatever it is, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. Just over and over to your finances. Just over and over until you feel good about where you are and you understand that what you're looking at now is past. That's actually a tangent for a second. With anything you're manifesting, when you're looking at your current reality, that is on average 90 days old. Okay. So if you were in an emotional shitstorm 90 days ago, well, that's going to start reflecting in your finances now. So that's part of the frustrating thing is you think you're getting ahead, you feel good and you're like all on high vibes and you've been hiking and you've been this and you've been that and da-da-da-da-da and you feel good, you've been journaling and you've been all this and then this finances start to get worse. It's because that's old. That's old. It takes time to reflect in your current reality, right? So the work you're doing right this second today is likely not going to show up for another 90 days. That's why you have to stay consistent. You have to stay committed. You have to stay dedicated. You have to stay faithful. And you have to check your faith account more than you check your bank account. I love that. Just checking my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. Okay, yeah, we want to definitely, like I said earlier, be grateful for every cent going out too. You want to look at every cent going out as an investment in your life, your family, in your well-being, in the world, whatever. You want to feel good about the money going out. You want to be grateful for the money coming in, and you want to just spread gratitude and love everywhere. Okay? And in the overwhelming moment, because I know this happens a lot, especially when you're like deep in it and you're just like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to pay this bill. I don't know how we're going to deal with this. I don't know how we're going to deal with that. Like, where's the money going to come from? Like, what are we going to do? In those moments, it's very important for you to just stop what you're doing and do what you can to center yourself and just think, okay, you know what? Right this second, right now, everything is fine. I have everything I need. There's food in my fridge. I have a roof over my head. I'm healthy. I'm happy. If you've got kids, like my kids are not hungry. I can have a hot shower later to relax. I'm reading this great book, like anything you can do to just focus your attention on all the positive things going on and focus on right this second. Right this second, everything is fine. Right this second, like not think about tomorrow and the next day and the bill coming due next month, next week, whatever. Right this second, things are paid. I'm not on the phone with a creditor, so that's a good thing, right? Like just do everything you can to just bring it back to right now. Bring it back to the present, bring it back to the right now, because that is really where the magic, trying to manifest anything, trying to be mindful, trying to be in a good mindset, period. That's really where the magic is just to be able to bring it back and center yourself in the now and just feel good about what's happening right this second. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so still good? Drop some emojis below if I'm still making sense and I'm not going too fast. I have still 3 more points. This is going to be way longer than I intended it to be, so I'm sorry about that. But I hope that you guys are getting value out of this and this is beneficial to you and you're not feeling like you're wasting your afternoon. You're still here, so I feel like that's a good sign. But okay. You're so funny, Jess. Oh my God. I wish you lived closer, seriously. Okay. So now I want to talk about prosperous budgeting and spending. So that kind of jumps off of what we were just talking about. I just realized my husband has clients coming in half an hour. Okay, so I'm not going to take up more than half an hour more of your time because I have to go. My husband has clients. But so prosperous budgeting and spending. So when you're done going over your finances and you have an idea of where things are, where you're going, you're trying to feel good about what's up, you've plugged up the leaks, we're going to work on prosperous budgeting going forward, prosperous spending going forward. Okay. So I did talk about this briefly in another video and I'm going to go over it again just so it's all in the one place for people who are watching the replays. And no, Jess, that's crazy. I didn't see it. Oh my God, I'll catch it on the replay. I'm going to die. Oh, I got chills now. Oh, cool. So like I talked about previously, you want to take up your income, which is 100%, right? And you want to 10% pay yourself, put it in long-term savings right off the bat. You don't have to label that for anything. You don't have to say it's, like for us, it's the down payment on a house, but it doesn't have to, you can just put long-term savings, 10% long-term savings, pay yourself first. 10% you want to share with those less fortunate, with whoever you are getting your spiritual guidance from. Maybe that's your church, maybe that's some other spiritual leader you're following. You can even one thing that I like to do is I take my 10% and I just give a little bit away in either Starbucks gift cards or to people who I feel need it, or I like to buy, if people are on the street looking like they are homeless, I like to buy them food. My husband watches this guy on, I don't know if it's YouTube or whatever, that goes intentionally to find people who look like they need the help, either in the grocery store or out, and then he gets them to load up a whole buggy full of food and then he buys it for them. So that's something that I would absolutely love to. I've not gotten to that point just because I've been giving my money elsewhere, but that's something I would love to do with my husband, get him involved in the tithing, sharing, whatever. And then 10% you want to spend. Because like I said in another video, if you are taking all of your money and putting it away, whether you're, saving it or paying bills or whatever, if you don't spend any of that money on yourself, you're not going to feel prosperous. You're not going to feel abundant, and you're going to be back right where you were before. So I highly encourage you to take 10% of your income and spend it on yourself. It doesn't have to be like a pedicure. It can be like, like the better groceries. It could be treating yourself to a new pair of jeans. Like I just realized my leggings have holes in them, so I need to buy new leggings. Like it can be replacing something you do need. It doesn't have to be a frivolous spend, but I just mean take 10% and spend it on yourself or your family in some way that you don't feel guilty about it, because you earned that money, you deserve it. The universe wants you to enjoy it. That's the whole idea. And if you put all the money back on your debt, then you don't get a chance to enjoy it. You don't feel prosperous. And then you are literally back in the same position you were before, because the whole thing is we want to feel prosperous. We want to feel abundant. And that's one of the ways you can do that is by setting aside the intention to flow that 10% into things that you want to buy for yourself or for your family or for whatever. Okay. And then the 70% that's left over, you can use that for bills, for debt, whatever. Okay. Like chances are that's really all but it's left is bills and debt and groceries, but that's what you're going to spend the 70% on. One thing that Catherine Zankina says all the time is, and I love this, she says, you don't have a spending problem, you have a receiving money problem, right? And that's really what it is. So when you're looking at your finances and expenses, if 70% of what you bring in is not enough to cover all of your bills and whatnot, we need to get resourceful. We need to figure out a way that we can make it so that that 70% covers what we need. And then we have 30% left over to share, to save, and to spend. Okay? That's a whole other topic, but I just wanted to say you want to do the 70, 10, 10, 10. Okay? So when we're talking about debt specifically, though, when we're looking at our finances and we're figuring out our 70, 10, 10, 10, and we're looking at how we spend our money and we're, plugging up the leaks and all that stuff, one really great way, and this is kind of just like off on a financial tangent here, but one of the best ways to do that, to arrange how you're going to spend the 70% and how to set intention to the flow of that money, is to arrange all the money you owe by highest interest rate to lowest interest rate, not by amount owing. Okay, because the interest rates are what gets you. It's not the amount owing. So if you have a $5,000 balance, but a 20% interest rate, and you have a $20,000 balance, but an 11% interest rate, you want to pay off the $5,000 first. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but you're wasting more money. Like basically it's a hole you need to plug up with that interest charge on that $500, right? So what you want to do, you want to arrange all of your money or all of your debt things, right? If it's credit cards or loans or whatever, school loans to your family, whatever. And the ones that have no interest, obviously pay those off last, right? Like if you have a car loan with zero interest, don't be putting extra money on that car loan to pay it off faster. That's stupid. That's a dumb way to allocate your money. You want to make sure that all the intention, all the flow of the money is working for you too, right? Because you want to pay off the leaks. We want to plug up the leaks. So arrange the money you owe, highest interest to lowest interest. And then what you want to do is you want to cover all the minimums of the, wait, let me start again. Arrange it highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. Focus your attention on paying off the highest interest rate first. So what you're going to do is make sure all the other minimums are covered, right? And if you can, I would encourage you to do minimum plus 10% on each of those other debts, just because then you are putting some money towards the principal. Because if you're only paying, I don't know about loans specifically, but I know credit cards, if you're only paying the minimum payment, you're only generally, credit card companies work this way. If you're only paying off the minimum, you're only paying off $10 of the principal every month, right? And that's not going to get you anywhere very quickly. So, and I know a lot of credit card companies started adding on the bill, they'll say, if you pay only the minimum, it'll take you, 890 years to pay off your balance or whatever. And it's like, oh, that's not depressing at all. So, and that's not good money mindset, right? That's not good vibration. So I would encourage, if you can spare it, if you can make it work, I would encourage you to pay minimum plus 10% on all the other debts. And then whatever's left of the 70%, like after you've bought your groceries and you've paid your cell phone bill and you've paid your rent and you've paid your, like whatever's left out of that 70%, you put the minimum payments on all the debts that are the higher interest rates, plus 10% if you can, and then you want to throw the rest of what you have available onto the highest interest rate debt, and you want to pay that one down first. Focus on one debt at a time. You can when you see it come down in larger chunks, it feels so good to see it come down. And then you're also still putting a little bit towards the principal on the other payments too. So like, and the 10%, I mean, not of the whole balance of the debt, I mean of minimum payment. So if the minimum payment is $100, you want to put $110 on. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me make sure that I've got that. Okay, and then I wanted to talk about prosperous spending. Now, I already touched on making sure that you're spending 10% of your income on yourself. But I'm going to take it a step further and talk about prosperous spending. This is something I learned from Dr. Joe Vitale when I was reading his book, Attract Money Now. And he talks about prosperous or abundant spending in the sense that if you desire something, you have the money for it, like you've got this 10% set aside to spend on yourself or your family or whatever, right? The thing you desire improves your life in some way. So obviously you want to make sure that you can refer to it as an investment in your life or your well-being or whatever. Okay, so you desire it, it enhances your life in some way, you have the money for it because you've got the 10% set aside. If it falls within that 10%, then you have the money for it, then you should buy it because it will make you feel abundant and you don't have to worry about overspending. Like I know that's one thing that a lot of people do is they buy things trying to make themselves feel good, try to fill some void, try to, I'm going to feel abundant. I'm going to buy these expensive shoes. And I was like, that's great. But now you've got all this money on your credit card that you already can't pay off. And now you've got this extra $700 or whatever on there for these shoes that you can't afford. Wouldn't you rather, like, it feels so much better to buy things with cash or with, debit or whatever than it does to put it on a credit card, especially for people like us who have been in debt. We know what it feels like to owe the man, right? That's actually, I guess that's technically tax money, but you know what it feels like to owe somebody money for things that you've decided to pay off over time, which is nothing wrong with that. But I personally would much prefer to save up over time, or buy something with cash when I have it. And you know what's going to start happening? The first couple times you're going to be like, woo, I've got 10% to spend, and you're going to buy all this stuff. And then what's going to start to happen is you're going to start to look at the way you're spending money differently. And you're going to, it's going to be harder for you to spend that 10% every, 2 weeks or every month or however often you get paid and divvy up your finances, right? You're going to notice that you don't feel the same way about spending money anymore because you know the ins and outs of it. You feel better about the money that you owe, so you don't have this like other weird void to fill by buying other crap you don't need. You know what I'm saying? And one this is kind of a side tangent. This is not in my notes, but I thought I would mention it. One thing you might want to do too is go through your stuff in your house. Like I said, everything around you used to be money. Figure out things that you can donate to somebody who needs it more than you do. Figure out things that you could sell for a couple of bucks. Maybe set an intention that by the end of this weekend coming up, you're going to make an extra $200, and then find some stuff around your house you don't need and put it up on like local bidding sites or on Craigslist or whatever, and see if you can come up with your $200. I did that several weeks ago. I needed, what was it? This is months ago now, actually, now that I think about it. But in my course that I'm taking, one of the things we were working on was this kind of thing. And one of the things we had to do was go out and buy a new person a new wallet. And so I had control of my finances, but I didn't really have the extra money to go and spend on that kind of thing that I didn't really need because I've got all these purses and wallets, right? But she was saying the energy behind your old wallet is no good. You need to sage it out and put it away for a while, blah, 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 whatever. So I was like, okay, well, I need probably $200 to do X, Y, and Z, right? I wanted some Oracle cards. I wanted to do this. I want to do that. I said, okay, I need $200. So I found a bunch of stuff laying around my house that I needed, sold that, what made well over my $200. And in one of my network marketing companies, I had some products sitting around my house that I wasn't necessarily trying to get rid of, but I just didn't need it. I wasn't using it. And I had been using it for samples, but I wasn't really doing that and whatever. And then I had a customer message me and she was like, do you have any of this stuff? I really would like to try to get that off of your hands. And I said, yeah, okay, great. So I made like $180. I gave her a deal because I wasn't expecting that money. So she spent less than she was determined to, she was prepared to spend more than that. I gave her a deal. I got an extra $180. It was amazing. And it's all because I just set the intention and then let it go. And I just tried to collect money from where I could, right? I thought I heard my son coming. Anyway, so like I say, donate what you can. What are you doing? Oh, go ahead. It's fine. It's my husband, guys. You're so funny. So anyway, go look around your house at things you can donate, things you can sell. Like I said, set an intention by the end of the weekend, you're going to make, X amount of dollars, and then go around your house and see the things that you can sell and put up and see if you can make that $200. And if you set I'm just throwing $200 out, you can make it any amount you want. But if you decide to set an intention like that, I would love to hear how it goes at the end of the weekend, if you've been able to do that by then. So then, can you turn that up? Please, thanks. Thank you. So funny. Okay. So now we need to talk about how we're going to bring that more money in, right? Because we know how to reframe how we feel about our debt. We know how to spend prosperously. We know how to allocate our money better. We know how to spend with intention. We know how to send gratitude out and all those good things, but we still need to manifest some money, right? So the key here, well, one of the keys, there's many keys, but one of the keys is to visualize. Now, like I said earlier, you want to focus on what you're going towards, not what you're leaving. So you want to visualize when you're thinking about having your debt paid off and all these, financial surpluses. You want to think about and really feel and visualize what it'll be like when you have that ease and that comfort of not having all these bills to pay. And that could be, you can go at this from a couple of different ways. You can look at it like, I have so much money coming in, the bills I have don't matter, they'll be covered, it's fine. You can look at it from the perspective of my debt's paid off, so the money I have coming in is more than enough now, because it was, I mean, obviously it was doing, I mean, I'm still alive, so obviously I was eating and I had a house and, you know, somewhere to live, and, you know, I had clothes on my back, etc. So how you choose to go about it is totally up to you, but you want to just focus on the feeling you'll have when your leveraged finances, your leveraged experiences are no longer eating away at you, right? Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. You want to focus on the feeling you're going to have when you know that you don't have to shuffle money around. Like when you know you don't have to move money around from account to account before you pay for the groceries. You want to focus on the feeling you're going to have when you know that you can just go and buy this pair of jeans that you see on sale because you know you have money in your account, right? You want to just focus on how that's going to feel and how much better you're going to feel about life in general. Because like I say, it's no different manifesting money than it is manifesting a banana, than it is manifesting a cup of coffee, than it is manifesting a pair of pants, right? But because we need money to live, we need to pay bills, we need somewhere to live, we need to eat, we need to buy groceries, money, and of course the subconscious programming, money becomes this huge, heavy thing. So focus on the feeling you'll have when money is not this huge, heavy thing. Now that you know the truth, you know money is just energy, you know that you can attract it, you know that you can spend it, you know that you can save it, you know that you're not a bad person for accumulating debt, you know that you're not bad with money because you owe, you know, several people, several companies money. Like it's just, that's past, and you understand that that doesn't have to be repeated again, because we're going to stop that now, right? So just focus and visualize the feeling you're going to have when you are no longer, when you no longer get that, like, I don't know about you guys, but I get it, or I mean, it happens. It's because it's programming, right? In my gut, like just above my belly button, I get this, like, I used to call it anxiety pain, and now I realize it's like just old, like beliefs and old like crap that needs to be cleared out. And actually in the mini course, we talk about a clearing technique that we can use to get rid of that. And it works freaking wonders. It's so amazing. And you want to, when we're talking about visualizing how it will feel when we have the money we desire, and when, you know, money is not even that, but just when the debt is no longer this like heavy thing to talk about, like I was saying, you want to play the wouldn't it be nice game. So the nice thing about this is it's not really like a putting a want out, because you definitely don't want to say the word want, you want to say desire instead. But the wouldn't it be nice game, like you can say like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I had a giant soaker tub? Wouldn't it be nice if we could go jump in the pool right now? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a housekeeper come and fold our laundry or whatever, right? Like you're just playing the wouldn't it be nice. And what you're doing is you're actually throwing little things into your vortex for later, right? You never know when those things are going to come back around to you and manifest into your reality, which is really cool. So, and you want to think, speak, and act from the perspective of the version of you who already has the ease and comfort and free flowing life when you have your debts paid off, or when your debts are no longer as huge an issue as they are. The balances are small, it's going down, you know that the money's coming off, you know that your financial obligations are not as big as they used to be, you know that you've got it under control. Like you want to really embody that version of yourself and then live from that perspective every second that you can. It's actually funny, a few months ago now, I had been really working on this, right? Like I'd really been working on this, changing my money mindset, working towards how I would feel when I didn't owe any money, and when we bought this and we had this and could do that, and my business took off and blah, blah, blah. And then, and of course now I've been doing a lot of this myself because my husband wasn't really on board with the whole manifesting thing. And in another video, another day, I'm going to talk about how you can go about manifesting anything when your partner's not really on board or thinks you're totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, which is what mine did. He's like, don't talk too loud, people are going to have you committed. And I'm like, whatever. Anyway, we were outside talking, and I had been really deep, like I said, into this work, and I'd been really reprogramming my subconscious. I'd been really working through some stuff and really visualizing myself as the version of myself that I wanted to be. And then he said something about I forget now, it wasn't really important, but something about like, we don't have money for that, or we can't afford that, or when we do this, or blah, blah, blah. And I was about to say out loud, like, what do you mean? Like and I was like, oh, wait, it actually didn't happen yet. I've been visualizing it so much that it became such a vivid reality for me that I knew, like, you have to get to the point where you know that it's happening. Like, you know that you're going to be in a place of financial flow and financial surplus where your bills don't stress you out. And you need to know that you're going to get to the point where your cell phone bill can just come out automatically every month and you don't need to think about it. You need to get to the point where you know that you will be in the position that your income is going to far outweigh your expenditures, and that you're going to be in this position where you can just decide, you've got like let's say you're hanging out with your significant other, and you've got two other, couples over at your house, and you're like, you know what? Let's go out to this restaurant for dinner, my treat. And you can treat all six of you to dinner, and you don't have to even think about it. You don't have to look at your accounts. You don't have to, and this is obviously still in the future, as everything is, but I'm working on right now visualizing the version of myself that can write a $200,000 check to a charity or to an organization or whatever at a gala event without having to move money around. Like, I just got so much money that I have 200 grand just sitting in this account that I can just write this check on, and I know it's going to clear. Right? Like, you need to embody the version of yourself who has what you desire you have, so that to the point where there's no shadow of a doubt that this is your life and this is coming your way and this will be your reality, to the point where when you're talking to somebody about it, you have to stop and correct yourself because it actually hasn't happened yet, right? You have to fully embody. That's really where the magic is. Now, as I kind of touched on a couple times already, this 5-day money mindset mini course that I am putting on is going to deal with all of this way, 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 way in depth. It's going to go over your money story, how your subconscious got programmed to believe what you believe. We're going to discover where those beliefs come from, where they started. And the limiting beliefs and all that. And we're going to go into why you cannot seem to accumulate the money that you want to accumulate, and why you continue to be in the cycle of debt too. Because probably a lot of you had debt and then paid it off, and then you accumulated more debt. Like, it seems to be this like revolving cycle of never having enough, right? So we're going to go really, really deep into that, and we're going to work through clearings and stuff. Like I said, I'm going to teach you guys a really awesome clearing technique for that, like really icky, like money energy. We're going to work on reprogramming your subconscious mind so that we're going to get rid of those limiting beliefs, and we're going to put in the truth of what we want to believe and what we're striving towards. There's going to be all kinds of like affirmations and manifesting rituals. And like I said, this clearing technique, and there's going to be meditations and all kinds of guided things to help you really shift your money mindset drastically in just 5 days. Okay. We're also going to go into, like I said, some manifesting techniques. And ultimately, by the end of the 5 days, you are going to have your money mindset shifted so much that you will begin to manifest money. You will begin to feel differently about money. You will feel differently about money. You will see money differently. You will start to talk about money differently. And you will start to open yourself up to receive the money that you not only desire, but that you deserve. Like, it is your right to have money. Like, you're human, so you have a right to be wealthy. That's just literally what it comes down to. So I have finalized that stuff for that 5-day course. So from now until Friday at midnight Pacific Standard Time, which is, I think, like 1 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that's like 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday night. You can register for that for just $47. And then after that, it's going to go up to $99. So you're saving over half price until Friday. And then I'm going to open it to the public for the $99 rate from Saturday to the following Sunday. And then we're going to start on the Monday. It's going to be 5 days of live lessons with Jamie Lynn. Yeah, she's gone again now. It's going to be 5 days of like deep reprogramming of your mind, going over your limiting beliefs, figuring out where that all started, getting rid of it, clearing up all that icky money, BS, and opening yourself up to receive in 5 days. It's going to be intense. There's going to be homework. You're going to have to show up. You're going to have to come with an open mind, a pen and a paper. But I promise you, if you commit to the process and you come with an open mind and you do the work and you follow the steps, you will shift your money mindset in just 5 days. If you can't be there live, there will be recordings up, but I do encourage anybody who registers to be live, because there's going to be Q&A at the end of each lesson. So obviously you'll get more out of the 5 days if you are there live. I realize that's not possible for everybody. The program will start on Monday. Oh no, I forget the date now. Hang on one second, I'll look it up. Today's the 11th. So we have until Friday night to get it for $47. And then starting on Saturday to Sunday is going to be $99. And then so the 24th, June 24th is when we're actually going to start. So if you can make it live, that's great. We are going to, once everyone is registered, I will do a poll vote situation so we can figure out when the majority of people can be present for the live, and then we will go with whatever the most suitable time of day is. And then for everybody else, unfortunately, we'll just have to catch the replay, but at least you'll have the replay. Okay, so that sums up what I wanted to cover. I really hope you guys got value out of this. I hope that it does help at least one of you feel better about the struggle between having money, going out not as quickly as it's coming in, trying to manifest money while you owe money and trying to ignore your financial situation, but at the same time being responsible and paying your bills and all that. I hope this was valuable to you. I really hope to see you inside the Money Mindset 5-day mini course, because it's going to be so fantastic. I'm so excited about it. And I mean, there are people charging like hundreds and thousands of dollars for this, and I'm literally charging $47. So I really hope that you guys take advantage of that. And I will see you on the inside of that. And I will see you guys another time for another live. I've got probably 5, 6, I've got like 7, 8, maybe even 9 still member request topics to cover. Oh, good, Jess, I'm glad. Yay. I've got a list of maybe 5, 7-ish member requests topics to cover, and plus some other stuff that I want to cover. So I've got a lot of content coming your guys' way. I really hope that you're enjoying being in this group and being here with me and listening to me ramble on for an hour and 12 minutes. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so appreciative of you, and I look forward to catching you in another live video. And as always, if you have any requests or questions you'd like me to cover in a live video, please send me a private message. I would love to make sure that you are getting out of this group what you want or wanted when you joined. That is obviously always my goal and my desire, is to make sure that this is valuable for everybody. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, and I will talk to you super soon.